Getting back to the topic, today's topic is one of the most annoying questions I often get asked, which is, if Africa is so nice, why are so many people flocking there, going through dangerous measures, trying to get there? And so I want to try to do my best to answer this question. There's a lot of different parts to this question, but today I want to talk about the fake life that African migrants project back to the continent. Westerners may not realize, especially those of you guys that have not traveled much, don't realize that depending on what location you are in the world, you are getting access to different media, different exposure, and then so on and so forth. The media is a massive machine, and it is used in propaganda. It is used to perpetrate certain ideas and subliminal messages. And that takes place a lot here on the continent. In the years that I have lived here, I'm not surprised to see how many continental Ghanaians are completely unaware of the gun violence in America, the racial construct, the drug epidemic, homelessness. A lot of these things never even reach the international community. The West has done a tremendous job of making Africans feel like everything is happening in the Western world.
So far, I agree with everything she's saying, but damn, if this is Accra, Ghana, this looks way better than any neighborhood here in Kampala. I'm sorry that I've seen. Well, I think like there's a few, but this is pretty good. No potholes. I haven't seen a pothole on the road yet. Okay. Here in Kololo or places like that, you be spending a lot of money and you hella potholes everywhere. Well, let's go.
And that nothing of value is happening here. So when you're socialized seeing that, sometimes people begin to believe that. But another big piece of this pie are the African migrants that move abroad and project a particular image back here to the continent. A lot of them are dishonest about their living. A lot of them are prideful, and a lot of them are glorifying what we as Westerners feels like it may be a mediocre life. And for some people who experienced really tough situations in their home country, it may be an upgrade. You know, everything that you have to do here is cash and carry. When you buy a car, you have to pay it cash. When you buy land, you have to pay it cash. When you build a home, you have to build it cash. And so you go to the Western world, you can, have these things, so to speak, living on credit. And people back here on the continent are going to think that you own those things, because in our world here, that's how it's done.
Let me just say this here. She's definitely right so far. But I would also say the fake rich lifestyle, I don't know about Ghana, but I'm pretty sure it's the same. It is so high in Uganda. So again, when people come back like in December, I think they call it Daddy December and stuff like that. But just every time, every month, there's so much fake rich stuff happening just in Africa. People are having a fake life. Like they have money, they're taking pictures at restaurants all the time, taking pictures in front of cars they don't own. Like this is something that's really, 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 really big here in Africa in general. Like everybody is trying to one up somebody else. So it makes sense that if they were to go in the diaspora, they will continue on with this, but it is huge here. And if you're an American and you understand, like, people would be barely spending their whole paycheck just like at a zoomy restaurant and just taking pictures and can't even pay their rent because they want to look good that day. So that behavior is already here, but let's continue.
I'm going to show some videos of some popular Ghanaian content creators that are online. This first gentleman, Kofi, he has over 1 million followers on TikTok, and he is a janitor in the Netherlands. And he really, really, really showcases and broadcasts this image.
7 years ago today, 23rd March, Kofi, I arrived in the Netherlands from Ghana on a visa with no hair. Today, I'm a Dutch citizen with lots of hair. So you see, abroad is good. When you are in Africa and you get the chance, the legal way, travel abroad. Because the system works 24/7. It favors all, not just a few, like in Africa.
Okay, that's powerful. The system favors all, not just a few, like in Africa. And I know she's going to try to come and rebuttal that, but that's the issue also. It is very, very difficult to get an opportunity. Let's say if this guy did go and become a janitor in the Netherlands, it is a very difficult, if you're talented, to make it in a lot of these African countries. I am here, I see it. It is difficult for me as a person that's educated, that has a monthly income, that's doing sort of okay. So if a guy goes and gets his citizenship in the Netherlands, yeah, I mean, but when you don't have that kind of opportunity in Ghana as an investor, maybe, what are they supposed to do?
If you are not going to be passionate about that job, then don't apply for it. Because nobody is forcing you. It's not slavery. You have the freedom to choose. So whenever you apply for a job, even because of the high salary, be ready to give it your all. Be passionate about it 100%. Because you cannot give input of 40% and expect output 100% salary. It doesn't work like that. That is disrespectful. Kofi, I know about this. That is why anytime I'm in this uniform.
Okay, I see what she's saying here, because in the last video, he had like a suit, a beer, his passport, and then in this photo, he's actually a janitor.
Naturally, people are going to gravitate to their own people. They're going to gravitate to people speaking to them in their own language. What an American content creator or a diasporan content creator is making may not even reach those here on the continent. They're much more likely to listen to their peers. And so when they see their peers go abroad and their peers are broadcasting these things back to them,
every Sunday. UK is sweet though. Everybody don't come on. UK is sweet. Come to UK, my dear. Come to UK. UK is sweet.
or they come back to the motherland and they show a certain image.
The types of burger in Ghana. Well, if you don't know what burger is, they are Ghanaians who have traveled abroad and back. Number one is the American burger. They mostly like to show off, so you see them in their flashy outfits, always wearing sunglasses with at least 3 phones in one hand. And of course, they are FBIs, follow back internationals. American burgers like to spend. Within their first month of arrival, they let everyone know that they are here. But after some time, they start to chill and merge into the system. 2 is the UK burgers, normally tagged as stingy, aka Armstrong. They are very particular about how they spend their money or what they spend their money on, because they know if they lose guard, they might go back broke.
Here in December, it's a very popular time for Ghanaian diasporan people to come back to Ghana for, the holidays. A lot of weddings happen, a lot of events, obviously the festivals and the parties and all of that. It's not uncommon for them to, save up all year and come back and ball out. I remember I've talked about it on the
same thing that happens in Nigeria, same things happen in Uganda. They call them Basamas here. I think they call it, Dirty December in Ghana, Nigeria. Kenya is the same thing. Like, you can't even get Airbnbs during that time. Try to get Airbnbs. Me and Satati, one of my editors, we got lucky. I don't know if it was me and him. I think I got typhoid during that time, 2023. I was shitting everywhere. Did you have it too? Yeah, we both had it. We had drunk somewhere. I was shitting everywhere. But it was, I wasn't to stay until the New Year's. I had met up with the residential tourists, and we were supposed to do a podcast, and then something happened. They got sick, and so I was gonna try to stay, and I couldn't get any rooms for the most part. Airbnb was booked. So yeah, that's what happens every holiday season.
On the channel a couple times, I remember a gentleman, one year he came to Ghana and he brought about like 10 or 14 iPhones, and he was giving.
Damn, Ghana is nice. I gotta stop talking shit about y'all for real.
To his family. And here in Ghana, people got to pay for those phones outright. They're very expensive. And for him to just come back and demonstrate like, oh yeah, I got it like that. Now we coming from the Western world know, hey, he probably put it on a credit card. You know, he may not have bought all those phones cash outright or whatever, but here on the continent, it's going to give a different image.
He gave away 14 iPhones?
African migrants do is just as dangerous and damaging as the mainstream media, because they reinforce the idea that when you move abroad, you automatically got it made.
What's happened here today, Primrose?
I'm a British citizen.
Yay!
We did it, guys.
You know, for someone here who has nothing, they move to America. Within a couple months, they're doing some, you know, menial job. They're doing, I mean, not that any job is, you know, we frown upon it, but, you know, they're doing a low class or working class job. They're then able to get a car on credit. They're then able to get an apartment on credit. To them, their life has been upgraded in a very short amount of time, that they weren't able to also accomplish that here on the continent. So there's many different factors that go into why young Africans are desperate to travel abroad, but we can't leave out the responsibility that the African migrants are contributing in this thing. Because
let me just say this. I mean, she's right. I see it here. But the reality is that if Ghana wasn't what it is, or if Africa wasn't what it is, then the migrants wouldn't be there to begin with. They wouldn't be in the West. I was in Poland when the Zimbabweans came. And for you guys who might not know, Zimbabweans are the biggest diaspora and African diaspora group in Poland right now. They have been for a while. Some of them left and went to the UK. And I love Zimbabweans. They're really, really cool. Like my favorite people besides, you know, Ugandans and Kenyans that I've met personally. And why were they there? It was the instability of the Zimbabwean government. Okay. When you go to Dubai, I don't know how many Africans you will find there. Saudi Arabia is the biggest receiver of Ugandan export labor. Okay, it's the biggest export employer in Saudi Arabia, followed by the UAE. And people go into Dubai and start taking pictures of all of Dubai's, you know, development and talking about how good it is. Well, I mean, whose fault is that? Because people do that here in Uganda, right? People are, when they take pictures about how nice things are, there's some people who are poor, right? But you wouldn't know it if you go to Ugandan TikTok or Ugandan Instagram. They're going to make it look like it's going to do what it do. It's kind of what happens. And I think to blame the African diaspora for doing the same thing that they do here, it's interesting. I won't say that she's wrong. But again, like the guy said, the system works here. It doesn't work in most African countries. I can tell you that it doesn't work. I'm here. Okay? Now, I am here based on my own efforts and, you know, I was successful, but, you know, you have to break through on a very merit base and be exceptionally good or exceptionally lucky or exceptionally connected. The reason why they are there in the first place is because of Ghana. And to blame the people for saying, hey, you should come here and do that when they don't have opportunities. How many people in Ghana go to college or in any African country can't graduate, no opportunities? You have more population growth than you have jobs every year. So, well, the diaspora, they're showing off. What? Like, I get what you're saying, but that's not the main issue. You're talking about a symptom of the main issue, which is not that, it's not those people's fault. They wouldn't be gone if it wasn't so bad. And again, most of us that come from the diaspora into Ghana and Uganda, we have more opportunities. For example, African Superstar wasn't even in music. She came, she's in music. She has opportunities that a normal Ghanaian would not have, in a way, okay? I'm an African American. I come to Uganda. I get some opportunities that a normal Ugandan probably would not get in certain aspects. So for us, it's easier for us to look at it in that way, but we can never look at it. We could probably try to empathize with a local African, but we would never understand what they go through or how they've grown up. And this may be a coping mechanism of how they deal with their actualization of their reality.
They're then able to get a car on credit. They're then able to get an apartment on credit. To them, their life has been upgraded in a very short amount of time that they weren't able to also accomplish that here on the continent. So there's many different factors that go into why young Africans are desperate to travel abroad, but we can't leave out the responsibility that the African migrants are contributing in this thing, because they are some of the ones that are showing off and flexing on their peers and also not being honest about that slave life. And for, people that have grown up in that system, we've seen it come full circle. We know how it's all going to work out in the end. And that's why a lot of us have decided, you know what, I'm going to roll the dice and take my chances elsewhere, because the future is bleak. I know how this story works out. For someone who's coming completely from out of that system coming in, they still have the hope. They still have the wish that it's all going to work out the way you and I were optimistic when we were kids, thinking that we could make our wildest dreams come true in America or UK or Canada or whatever. So this really requires you to elevate your mentality. The more you travel as well, it will give you a lot more insight into the entire world and not just the location where you are, to understand how a lot of these agendas are functioning. So I don't know, guys, let me know what you think.
You have any individual, if you live in the United States, your likelihood of becoming richer, more educated, has to be 20 or 30 or 40 times that of somebody from Ghana or Uganda. Now, we got to be honest and tell the truth. What I have in Africa is because I am an American. I got a credit card, I got school loans, I got all of that stuff. So I don't really agree with, you had to leave the West to go to Africa to have to live your dream life, because America rewards people that if you want to be there, if you feel like you can do it, you can do it. There is a great opportunity in Africa too, but if you're not coming from a place that has resources, it's just very difficult for you to actualize that, especially in a cash-based system where opportunities are limited and controlled by a few. And again, I live here. I can tell you that if I lived in America with the kind of production and stuff that we have in this market, we will be a lot further, a lot quicker than we are now. All right. The African markets are tough, and you have a better chance usually in a Western world country like America or the Netherlands, even if you are a janitor, than what you have in Africa. But the beauty of Africa is that if you can make it happen, you're making it happen in a major way and nobody can see you. If it works, it works big time. Okay. So guys, shout out to this African superstar. The name of her video is called "The Reason Why So Many Young Africans Want to Go Abroad, African Migrants Promote Fake Life." Good video though. I usually agree with most of it. She's a very talented creator. She's explaining the issues there. Subscribe to be on her channel. We're out.